It is better to be adventurous than cautious. You feel Machiavelli speaking directly into your bones, reminding you that boldness carves paths where caution simply waits. In modern tongues, we might say, working harder isn't the road to power, it's the fast track to exploitation. You are not trudging towards success. You are marching, blindfolded, into a death march of your own making. Society sells you sweat as valor, exhaustion as a badge of honor. You line up for the grind, emails, meetings, tasks, believing every drop of effort brands you stronger. But here's the truth. Effort is worthless without strategy. You may work till dawn, but if your energy serves the wrong general, you pave the way for someone else's victory. Consider the invisible general, the CEO who never sweats yet commands empires. The algorithm merchant who profits while you chase every notification. They stand behind the curtain, unseen, orchestrating your labor as tribute. You think you're in control because you toil, but the battlefield is theirs. You feed the machine. Now picture respectability, the scent of tiredness lauded as virtue. You wear exhaustion like armor because that's what they asked of you. The true predators do not flaunt blood-stained cloaks. They hide in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When you brag about your busy schedule, that's not conquest, that's surrender. The stakes are epic. Keep worshipping sweat, and you become the pawn, expendable, worn, watched, but never chosen. Conserve your strength. Strike with precision, and you become the predator, not the prey. You command. Stop venerating indiscriminate toil. Stop queuing for exhaustion. Instead, ask, is this effort building my throne or dismantling it? Dig for strategy in the rubble of work. Hunt for leverage, not tasks. Observe the battlefield, then choose your moment. Fail this, and you toil your life for someone else's gain. Succeed, and you sit on your own throne. Energy intact, strategy sharpened. The battlefield bows to the strategist, not the drudge. Repeat this now, in your mind, as a promise to yourself and your enemy. Work is slavery. Strategy is sovereignty. Memento mori. Rule yourself before you seek to rule the world. Every empire begins within. Before any campaign can succeed, you must crown the throne within your mind. Without sovereignty over your own thoughts, every slaying of distraction, every conquest over labor becomes hollow, a facade of power without the substance of mastery. You must seize the inner kingdom. You can build empires, launch revolutions, shift markets, and still remain a slave. Marcus Aurelius wrote that external power means nothing if you do not command yourself. Conquer that battlefield between your ears first. Otherwise, every victory you proclaim will collapse like a castle built on sand when your own mind betrays you. Look at how modern life binds you in chains of busyness. You sprint through schedules, answer every ping, race from task to task, exhaustion celebrated as virtue. But this is not freedom. This is servitude. You're shackled by the illusion that doing more equals being more. You trade your attention, your greatest weapon, for fragments of distracted effort. You sign treaties with chaos, and the throne remains empty.
Contrast this with the strategist, not the soldier.
Imagine the general who spends his strength marching day after day without purpose, fighting battles he didn't choose, burning energy for someone else's war. Compare him to the strategist who surveys the battlefield, studies the terrain, waits for the opportune moment, then strikes with overwhelming force. Which do you want to be? The one who exhausts himself, or the one who conserves, calculates, and crushes decisively? Here is what you do. Stop worshipping busyness. Silence the endless march. Carve out the time to think, to decide, to command. Let your mind be your throne, not your prison. Stop collapsing under the weight of other people's battles. Demand sovereignty over your hours, your attention, your ambition. Act like the predator, not the prey. Failure to claim this throne means you're at war with yourself, soldiering through tasks that drain you, never freeing yourself to move with strategy or grace. But victory, when you rule your inner kingdom, when busyness bows and strategy rises, you don't just arrive, you reign. Repeat this now as your war cry. Let it echo in your mind each morning as you face the world's demands. I am the sovereign of my mind. Mornings are the most dangerous lull in a war. If you hesitate, you die before the sun even rises. That's not just hyperbole, it's the brutal truth. And it's why the dawn is your first battlefield, where the direction of your entire campaign is decided. You march into each day expecting to win, but most of us are like soldiers stumbling out of tents, disoriented and unprepared. Without ritual, your morning is chaos. But ritual is your armor. Great generals, from Prussian drill masters to modern commanders, knew this. Discipline at first light isn't optional, it's survival. In the US Army, every day starts with morning formation. Leaders assess their soldiers, enforce standards, and forge order from the wreckage of dawn's inertia. Physical training becomes more than exercise. It simultaneously builds mind, body, and the unspoken bond between warriors. Discipline goes from being a rule to becoming a living, breathing entity that sustains cohesion and readiness. Contrast that with most modern lives. You wake to a flood of pings. Notifications, emails, distractions hit you like stray mortar fire before you've even drawn your sword. You never saw the ambush coming. Your morning becomes a reaction, chasing every threat, every demand, while your strategy evaporates under the bombardment of trivialities. Yet imagine this instead. You claim the high ground. You enter the morning terrain already fortified, purposeful. You're not reacting, you're commanding. You control the slope, the vantage, the timing. You win momentum before the day even knows how to strike back. You are no longer a soldier being hammered by the day's demands. You are the strategist who chose the battlefield, set the trap, and launched the first decisive blow. Here's what you do. First, steel your armor. Create a morning ritual, something unmoving, non-negotiable, like formation before battle. Let your first action be discipline, not distraction. Physical movement alone can awaken resolve. Or like Franklin, ask yourself at dawn, what good shall I do this day? Let purpose preheat your mind before chaos arrives. Second, pick your ambush. In modern life, your enemy isn't other people, it's distraction. Lock them out of your first hour. Silence pings, shut off autopilot, scrolling. You are not giving away your attention. You are hoarding it. Third, ascend the high ground. You don't start running, you start commanding. Set direction before the field erupts. One clear move. Write a sentence, sketch strategy, train your body, anything that shapes your day on your terms. Fail this, and your day fights you. You're kicked, pulled, drained before you even realize you're under attack. The cost: you lose yourself, fragment your momentum, surrender your edge to random forces, but win this, and you own the morning. The battlefield bows, the rest of the day obeys. Now, as the light breaks through, take your stance, tuck that armor on, draw your sword, let the first strike be yours. Repeat it. I seize the dawn. I own the first strike. Silence is power. Hold it like a sharpened blade. That's not Machiavelli, but it might as well be. Stillness is not weakness. It is the forging of your edge. It is the predator's waiting game, where patience becomes your weapon and your first strike shatters worlds. You must learn that silence unsettles. In negotiation rooms, the strategists who speak less hold more. They ask the question, and then they wait. The void they create forces opponents to spill secrets, shift positions, expose their fears. Silence isn't absence, it's presence. It signals control. It draws out hidden truths, and it breaks the fragile calm of a challenger's composure. In your life, don't fill every silence with noise. Let your quiet be a storm of intent. Contrast this with the endless, blind charge of overwork. Imagine two hunters. The first hunts with reckless exhaustion, charging through the jungle, burning through breath, alert until collapse, but too tired to strike when the moment comes. The second waits, heart steady, senses sharp, muscles coiled. When the quarry barrels into view, the predator moves like lightning and kills with one precise, lethal action. Overwork is chaos. Stillness is lethal precision. This is not fiction. Strategy texts like The Art of War teach us to be formless, to be soundless, so the opponent cannot read your position or prepare for your move. You become water shapeless, unpredictable, silent, and when you strike, your force crashes like a flood where defenses are weakest. Waiting gives you leverage because your enemy moves first into your trap. Here is what you do. First, embrace silence as a strategic stance. In your next meeting, ask your question and wait. Don't talk to fill the space. Let your stillness make the other person uneasy. Let them reveal what they think you already know or undermine themselves in that silence. Second, pace yourself instead of burning through tasks without regard. Preserve energy. Let the world chase its chaos while you observe, conserve, and prepare. Third, train your patience into presence. Wait for the moment when your insight, your decision, your strike will land with thunder. When it arrives, it will land because you held back until the battlefield itself betrayed the enemy. Fail this, and you become the soldier who exhausts himself before the battle, eyes wide, strength gone, mind frayed. You lose not because you are weak, but because you never allowed yourself to rest, to wait, to read the field. But win this, and you will move with the predator's grace, striking from calm with speed and certainty. The battlefield will collapse around the echo of your silent command. Here is your final demand to yourself. Hold stillness like a drawn sword, and when the moment is right, strike without warning. Repeat now to steel your mind and sharpen your will. I wait in silence, then I strike. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli's words cut like a blade through flattery, and so must your approach to productivity. You win wars not by mustering endless forces, but by ruthlessly eliminating every weak link that drags down your strength. Consider the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, born from early 20th century Italy, when economist Vilfredo Pareto observed that 20% of the population owned 80% of the land. Later, management guru Joseph Juran applied it to modern efficiency. 20% of causes often produce 80% of outcomes. He dubbed this the vital few and the trivial many. Let that sink in. Most of our effort is squandered on low-impact tasks, while the real power hides in a focused minority. You are not an army of slaves marching in circles. You are the general commanding a lean elite. Now scan your life. Notice how your schedule is swollen with distractions, small tasks, unfocused calls, flickering habits. This is your army of distractions. They muddy your vision. They seduce you into motion without leverage. Each notification, each habit, each endless meeting is a soldier that doesn't know the war you're trying to win. These elements chain you in busyness, not disciplining you. They keep you hostage. Imagine the illusion of virtue that hides in that busyness. You work late, you grit your teeth through exhaustion, you wear it like a medal. But let me tell you, exhaustion is not honor. It's a confession that you lack strategy, a false morality. You confuse motion for progress. That's cowardice wearing the armor of discipline. Here's the battlefield strategy. Identify the vital few, the 20% of tasks or habits that yield your greatest returns. Strip everything else away. Kill the illusion of virtue that hard work alone earns you a place. Refuse to be deceived by quantity of effort. Demand quality of purpose. Command your schedule like a general trimming his ranks before battle. Let your attention be sharp, not scattered. Let your strength concentrate on the decisive move, not dissipate across endless skirmishes. This isn't mercy, it's efficient. It's sovereign power. Now, fail to act, and you remain trapped in a melee of your own making. Your energy drains, your intentions fade, you become a soldier without a purpose, worn out, overrun. But act, and you earn something rare: clarity, momentum, sovereignty. Your day becomes less a slog, more a chessboard with fewer but decisive moves. Now, stand tall. Clear your battlefield. Cut away the dead weight. Sharpen your command. Feel the weight of every useless burden lifted. Feel the clarity of your aim as your army shrinks, but your power grows. Repeat this now, in your mind, as your war cry. I eliminate the weak links. I strike with precision. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. That is Machiavelli, cutting, unapologetic, commanding you to stand tall, even when your soul trembles. You wear your mask of command like a crown. You stride across the battlefield, appearing tireless, while your mind conserves strength for the strike that matters. This mask is not falsehood, it is armor. It whispers to the world, strength is effortless. Behind it, your strategy blooms in silence. Think of Winston Churchill, rallying a nation under siege. His voice rang with confidence, while exhaustion whispered in his bones. He embodied resolve so completely that doubt died in the hearts of those who heard him. His public persona carried the weight of London's battered streets, but he never showed it. You must do the same. Let chaos swirl around you, appear unwavering. Let the world believe you carry all burdens with ease. Contrast that with the modern mistake, broadcasting exhaustion as authenticity. We post anxious confessions of burnout like trophies. We share every moment of fatigue, expecting empathy, but delivering weakness. Exhaustion is not vulnerability, it is surrender. Don't let transparency cheapen your power. Let your public self be the fortress, not the falling wall. Now imagine the double game. Behind the scenes, you are the sculptor of your empire. You move with precision in the shadows, planning, optimizing, executing. In public, you are the frozen king, composed, unstoppable, serene. The world sees only the throne. You see the map, the hinges, the hidden corridors. Your labor is hidden, your strategy invisible, your power absolute. Here's what you do. First, cultivate your mask. Posture your calm. Speak clearly. Breathe deeply. Let your face stay steady while storms rage. Second, shield your strategies. Work in the shadows. Block the world from seeing your cracks. Let others misjudge your limits. You remain limitless. Third, orchestrate your appearance. Build mastery in silence. Let the world marvel at your effortless strength, because that is your greatest deception and your greatest command. Fail this, and you'll burn out in plain sight. Your reputation becomes a confession. The battlefield sees you fray and fractures you. But master this, and you become the sovereign. Your mask becomes your emblem, your efficiency, your legend. Now, steel yourself. Let the mask fall into place. Let your presence say, this body is still, but this mind commands. Repeat this now as your declaration. I appear limitless. I conquer in silence. It is not titles that command. It is the absence of weakness that demands obedience. You must become the inner assassin, not the blade itself, but the quiet hand that wields it. Weakness isn't laziness. It's permission for conquest, and your internal assassin exists to strike at excuses before they betray you. Most failures are not the work of enemies charging the gates. They are born within. Self-sabotage is the true treason. Most people are undone, not by external forces, but by the slow drip of habits that diminish them. Oversleeping becomes the dagger, undermining your resolve. The endless scroll, the half-finished project, the excuse that sounds convincing but lies at the root of every surrender. You do not lose because the battlefield is fierce. You lose because your own gates crumble from within. Now imagine an execution ritual, a hypothetical ceremony where excuses gather in the courtyard. You don't debate them. You don't negotiate. You execute them. You cut them away with swift, decisive action. You wake at the hour you promised. You silence the phone. You open the blank page and write the first line. And as you do, you feel strength return. The knife of discipline is sharpened by ritual. The assassin practices in silence, and when the excuse raises its head, the blade is already there. Machiavelli warned that weakness is invitation. A weak prince invites invasion. A divided kingdom collapses from without, because no fortress was strong within. In The Prince, he argues that when a ruler depends on external alliances or feeble foundations, he is exposed. Weakness is contagion. Do not become a host for invasion. Let strength be your silent sentinel. Here's your command. Train your assassin. Recognize the habits that betray you. Strike them without mercy. Every morning before the battlefield of the day opens, purge one excuse. Start with the smallest. Do it again tomorrow. Build the muscle of decisive action. Let zero tolerance for excuses become your creed. If you fail, the cost is profound. Your days bleed away in regret and unfought battles. Your kingdom grays, weakened by inaction. But if you master this inner ritual, you become the sovereign of your life. Your inner assassin ensures every battle begins with clarity, every corner of your mind safe from betrayal. Now, steel yourself. Feel the edge of resolve in your spine. Let the internal assassin whisper, I execute weakness. I reign from within. It is better to be loved than feared, if you cannot be both. Yet Machiavelli's core is clear. Power is sustained, not by exhausting effort, but by strategic fuel. You must feed the wolf within, the source of your strength, if you wish to conquer your own battlefield. You stand at war's edge every morning. Ask yourself, what feeds my power and what poisons it? Consider this modern truth. What you consume builds your army or sabotages it. Late-night screens, sugar-laden snacks, shortcuts, dressed as convenience, they erode focus and vitality. Your energy, once your greatest weapon, becomes diluted. You feel the drag. You wake foggy. You lose momentum before battle begins. Now look at history. Spartan warriors ate simply, yet shrewdly. Their meals weren't indulgences. They were calculated fuel, barley, meat when necessary, olives, cheese, figs. Their famous black broth of pork, blood, vinegar, and salt wasn't a delicacy. It was concentrated power, iron, and nutrients forged from austerity. Spartan dining was built for clarity, not comfort. Every bite sharpened their edge, not dulled it. Now envision energy as gold coins. You hoard them, not spend frivolously. You ration your attention, your physical vigor, your mental focus, You save them for the decisive moment, the strike that rewrites the map of your day. Here's how you feed the wolf. First, purge the poison. Cut snacks that sugar spike, then crash. Eliminate mindless scrolling that hijacks focus. Refuse media that bleeds your energy for no return. Second, return to Spartan clarity. Eat foods that sustain, sharpen, and don't cloud your mind. Let your fuel empower your strategy and sharpen your resolve. Third, hoard your energy. Let your endurance be your leverage. When the hour of battle dawns, you will be the only one left standing and striking with purpose. Fail this, and you become the soldier who collapses before the fight. Your energy wasted, your power eroded, your mind fogged as the battlefield moved past you. But master this, and your days become campaigns, your energy the reserve that wins war. Every decision aligns, every move lands. Prepare now. Feed your wolf. Sharpen your edge. Repeat this as your war cry. I feed the wolf. Energy is my war fuel. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. That's Machiavelli's spirit, even if not his exact phrase, because on the chessboard of life, the board doesn't change, you do. You stand before a life filled with pawns, repetitive tasks, endless motions masquerading as progress. But the strategist does not push every pawn. The strategist positions for checkmate. Look to history. Napoleon did not win by sheer force. He concealed his troops, created weak points, and struck at the enemy's hinge. He moved in patterns no one else saw, and he defeated armies larger than his with fewer soldiers in explosive maneuvers of positioning and timing. Every battle he won was a lesson in spatial calculus over brute strength. He crushed enemy lines by reaching the decisive point first, not by outlasting them. That's how a checkmate is born, from alignment, not attrition. Now shift to your modern arena, the corporate chessboard. Those who win are not the grinders, but the movers, navigate with strategy. A Microsoft engineer built a side business alongside his job, diversifying his power rather than climbing the ladder blindly. When layoffs came, he struck at opportunity and walked away with sovereignty, not survival. That's maneuvering over marching. Imagine sacrificing pawns, small tasks, ego bids, worthless meetings in a larger game. You sacrifice something small to protect something greater. You pull back a pawn to open a lane for your queen. You retreat from distraction to feed focus. That one calibrated loss creates the gap. Then you deliver the checkmate. Here is how you play. First, stop marching endlessly. Look at the board. What moves open the path to your objective? Let go of the busy work. Let that be your pawn sacrifice. Second, reposition yourself. Conserve your energy. Reposition your resources. Align your forces. Don't brute force solutions. Slip through gaps. Exploit angles. Third, strike the hinge. When the moment appears, when the board tilts your way, unleash maximum force. Your strike isn't stronger, it's smarter. If you ignore this, every day you drain yourself across petty battles and win nothing. You become the pawn rather than the king. But if you master this, your moves become lethal. Your day is a victory, not a struggle. Now see yourself rise. See the board align, the pieces fall away. Feel the clarity. Say it now. Let it echo through your mind. I strategize, not toil. I checkmate life. Only the disciplined ones are truly free. Without it, you become a slave to your moods and passions. That's not Machiavelli, but it echoes his ruthless clarity. Discipline without vision forges chains, not command. You stand before molten steel, raw energy, uncast. Discipline is your hammer, but without direction, you become the blacksmith's prisoner. Endless toil without purpose sharpens neither mind nor empire. It is slavery wrapped in virtue. Consider the cost of aimless effort. You may grind, but without a target, the hammer becomes your master. Your body burns, your vision blurs. You labor not to build, but to survive. Every exhausted breath is a chain tightened around your will. Now look closer. True power lies in micro-rituals, the small, consistent habits that bend reality over time. Research shows that tiny, repeatable behaviors, like setting clear day priorities, stretching every hour, or starting with a 5-minute focused session, compound into unstoppable momentum. These quiet rituals prime your mind, sharpen your focus, and transform the mundane into mastery. Imagine turning pain into a signal, not punishment. Every twinge of resistance, every ache of fatigue, let them chime like warning bells. Pain becomes your alert system. Each ache, a battlefield warning, grow or fail. You do not flinch, you pass the signal. You press on. Here's what you must do. First, weld your discipline to vision. Forge your day with intention, not blind force. Set a direction, a battlefield to conquer. Second, embed micro-rituals, tiny, unbreakable habits that build your fortress brick by brick. Use them as silent operators reshaping your reality. Third, interpret discomfort as data. Let pain guide your advance, not derail it. Fail this, and you'll toil endlessly, shattered, unfocused, conquered by your own exertion. But if you master this, you become steel tempered in flame, disciplined, efficient, sovereign. Now feel strength settle into your bones. Let your internal forge ignite. Declare your sovereignty. I shape discipline into command. It is better to be feared than to be loved, and detachment is the crown a sovereign never removes. Machiavelli's voice revolves through time. The highest form of power isn't in labor, it is in presence. You stand at war's summit, not trapped in daily toil, but unburdened by it. Your labor no longer defines you. You are untouchable because you have mastered detachment. Look to the modern sovereigns of the economy, those who build systems, not clock hours. Architects of networks, founders of platforms, they craft empires that work while they don't. These are the truly untouchable. Their presence commands outcomes, not labor. They bend markets without burning hours. They've replaced the sweat of hands with the force of systems. Watch the predator above the herd. Imagine a hawk perched high, silent, still. Below, workers scurry like ants, consumed by tasks. The hawk waits. One precise dive, and the board is cleared. You are not an ant, you are the hawk. You move rarely, but when you do, victory follows. Understand the power of detachment. In a world that demands hustle, true strength lies in the refusal to be baited. When the herd frantically chases trends, you remain distant, strategic, calm. They expend energy reacting, you conserve power to act decisively. Here is what you do. Build systems, not chores. Let your influence persist while your labor fades. Learn to move only when the field shifts in your favor. Don't flinch at daily noise. Let every demand that tries to pull you in mid-stride bounce off your calm. Fail this, and you remain labor's prisoner, visible, exhausting yourself for scraps. But master this, and you become untouchable. Your presence is command, your labor optional. The battlefield bows before your stationary shadow. Now breathe deep. Feel detachment nestle into your bones. Let your presence settle like steel. Repeat this now. Let it be the echo that holds your power.
I am untouchable.
Presence is my command. It is better to be feared than loved. and detachment is the crown a sovereign never removes. That isn't a direct quote, but it rings with Machiavelli's relentless logic. Mastery isn't built through toil, it's forged in presence. You stand at the pinnacle, no longer shackled by relentless labor. Your power radiates from detachment. It's your unspoken command. Look at those who truly reign over economies, visionaries who design systems, not clock hours. They don't burn daylight, they ignite empires. Their influence pulses even when they rest. Their dominion isn't earned by sweat, it's sustained by systems. Now picture the predator above the herd, a hawk held high, cold and still. Below, the crowd scurries, making noise, burning strength, consumed by tasks. One swift dive ends the frenzy. You are not of the stampeding herd. You are the perched strike, silent until the field reveals its prey. Recognize the power of detachment. While others chase trends, react to every call, you remain still, strategic, structured. Their energy is spent. Your power is conserved. You wait. You decide when to move. Here is what you do. Build systems, not chores. Let your creations pulsate with autonomy. Move only when the board shifts in your favor, not because the crowd demands. Remain detached, impenetrable to distraction, unmoved by the dean. Fail this and you remain entangled. Visible, exhausted, reacted to. You serve labor. You become labor's hostage. But master this and you ascend. You stand untouchable. Your mere presence commands. You are sovereign, even when still. Now settle into that power. Feel your center solidify as the chaos dissolves around you. Presence is my crown. I rule without labor. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Machiavelli's words cut deeper now than ever, because the modern world is drowning in a false religion, the cult of hard work. You've been told to worship exhaustion, to treat burnout like a badge of honor. They celebrate the man who bleeds for his wage, who sacrifices his body and mind on the altar of endless hours. But hear me, this is not glory. This is slavery dressed as virtue. The sovereign does not grind himself to dust. The sovereign conserves. He waits, he watches, he strikes only when the strike matters. That is the difference between the laborer and the strategist, between the soldier who runs headlong into arrows and the general who moves pieces on the map. The herd glorifies exhaustion because they cannot see the game board from above. But if you are listening, must reject this poison. Stop glorifying exhaustion. Start glorifying precision. History proves it. Rome was not built by men who swung hammers without pause, but by commanders who knew when to send legions forward and when to keep them still. Alexander did not conquer by walking every mile himself, but by holding the vision, the map, the will of the campaign. He knew that the leader's energy is the most precious resource on the field. Waste it, and it all collapses. Guard it, and the world bends. So here is the true path. Power belongs not to the man who runs until it collapses, but to who knows how to conserve. But to the man who knows how to conserve. A king does not pace the marketplace selling his wares. A wolf does not sprint aimlessly across the valley. Both wait, both choose, both unleash force only in decisive moments that alter everything. This is not laziness, it is lethal precision. You must now declare war on the lie that tells you to toil endlessly. If you wish to ascend, you must conserve. Calculate, command. The strategist does not ask, "How much can I endure?" He asks, "Where is the one strike that wins the war?" That is how pawns become kings, how workers become sovereigns, how men become untouchable. And now the oath. Burn it into your lungs. into your bones, into your throne of the mind. Speak it as if you are standing on the battlefield, as if the armies of exhaustion and distraction are charging you, and you must rally yourself to victory. Do not whisper it, command it. Let it reverberate through every decision you make from this day forward. Do not toil, rule.